Why do bad people succeed in life?
Those who succeed do not hesitate to use whatever means necessary to achieve. Those who succeed do not hesitate to use whatever means necessary to achieve their goals. Niccolo Machiavelli. Have you ever noticed how often those who act maliciously or unscrupulously seem to thrive? Why do people who manipulate, deceive, or break rules end up achieving success, wealth, and power? It is frustrating.
Well, I mean, they don't always succeed, right? I mean, they may succeed in the short term, but in the long term, they hurt their reputation, right? So, I mean, it's like a double-edged sword, right? It depends. It depends on how much the person has fucking ruined their reputation by doing weird fucking shenanigans.
Frustrating, is it not? We grow up believing that justice must prevail, that the good will be rewarded, and that the wicked will get what they deserve. Yet in real life, the story seems different. Correct. It almost feels like there is a dark logic behind this phenomenon, an invisible rule that benefits those who are unafraid to cross moral boundaries. And as unsettling as it is, understanding this logic can give us a deeper perspective on the world we live in. To do so, we need to go back in time
Hollywood,
and turn to one
some
of the most
Hollywood
renowned
people
works
who
on
get
power
into
and human behavior.
really shady shit.
The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. Machiavelli is one of the most misunderstood thinkers in history. Many people believe he was a champion of evil, but that is far from the truth.
No,
what
I mean
Machiavelli
he questioned,
was observe the world as
he questioned morality, right? Good and evil. He questioned that a lot. Right? What does it mean to be good? What does it mean to be evil? Who is considered good? Who is considered evil? Why would you why is the reason for you thinking this way?
It is
stuff like that.
Not as we wish it to be. His main concern was effectiveness. He believed that in the game of power, traditional morality can be an obstacle. According to Machiavelli, those willing to do whatever is necessary, even if it involves lying, manipulating, or stepping over others, have a natural advantage over those who adhere to rigid moral standards. Why?
Yeah, basically adhering to religious standards, adhering to even societal laws, right?
The real world is not a fairy tale. The effective leader, Machiavelli argued, must be practical rather than virtuous. This leads us to one of his most controversial ideas. The ends justify the means. This means that to achieve great goals, such as maintaining power,
that's a big one. Everyone still to this day.
conquering territories, or building a successful career, it is sometimes necessary to resort to methods considered immoral. Machiavelli does not glorify evil. He merely points out an uncomfortable truth.
Yes. He's only shedding a light to how people think in society sometimes, right? I mean, you can literally see it in criminals, right? And criminals and justify the means for them, right? That's the reason why they get into the shit. That's the reason why they turn into criminals.
Those with fewer moral constraints can advance faster and with less hesitation.
Same with politicians, even though they're restricted by a bunch of regulatory rules and laws and their own constitution.
Guilt, shame, or fear of hurting others. Those who act unscrupulously move forward without looking back. They see the world as a chessboard, where every piece is an opportunity to achieve their goals. This strategic coldness gives them an advantage over others.
Yeah, I do this too sometimes. You will see it in scientists when they do it. I mean, they don't do it on purpose. I mean, they're just they're looking at the objective nature of the world, right? Realism, in a sense.
Wicked people do not waste time lamenting the consequences of their actions. They simply act. They do not care about being loved or approved, but about winning. Machiavelli emphasizes this in The Prince.
Basically
to
thinking,
be effective, a leader does not need to be loved,
acting before,
but must be feared.
Acting before
Love
you
is
think.
unstable, volatile, and depends on others. Fear, on the other hand, is something the leader can control. Think about it. If you look around, in business, politics, or even daily life, you will see people who thrive because they do not hesitate. They are willing to do what many would consider
people in certain
unthinkable.
sports, right? They don't hesitate when they do sports, right? They don't hesitate to go fucking tackle someone. Right, they're going in.
Manipulate, deceive, or exploit others to achieve their ends. They are not held back by traditional morality, which makes them ruthlessly effective. But this raises another question. Is this prosperity sustainable, and is the price worth it?
Skills are shaping destiny.
One key trait that sets apart those who succeed, even through questionable means, is their ability to act with virtue and handle fortuna. These two concepts, introduced by Niccolo Machiavelli in The Prince, are at the heart of his perspective on power and effectiveness. Let us begin with virtue. Unlike what we think today, for Machiavelli, virtue does not mean moral virtue, but rather a combination of skill, boldness, intelligence, and adaptability. It is the quality that allows a leader, or anyone ambitious, to shape circumstances in their favor. Think of virtue as the ability to see a situation for what it truly is, without illusions, and act pragmatically to achieve the best possible outcome. A person with virtue is not bound by rigid moral codes. They are flexible, bold, and strategic. They understand that sometimes, doing what is necessary to win requires breaking conventional rules. This is where wicked individuals excel. They are unafraid to act with cold calculation and intelligence,
sovereign citizens,
even if it means bending
criminals,
rules or manipulating those around them. They have a sharp sense of when to strike, when to retreat, or when to manipulate situations.
You can say that this happens a lot in the sports, sports field of things when you're doing, competition, right? In any form of competition, right? The idea is you want to win. You don't want to lose, right?
And they adapt without hesitation to what reality demands. Machiavelli uses a metaphor to explain virtue. An effective leader must be both a lion and a fox. The lion represents strength and majesty, the ability to inspire fear and protect territory. The fox
is a representation of being sly, in a sense.
Represents cunning, the skill to evade traps and deceive when necessary. The wicked master this duality. They know when to act aggressively to command respect and control, and when to use subtlety and manipulation to achieve their...
knowing with combat sports, knowing when to be aggressive in certain times to beat your opponent, or knowing when to back off and read your opponent's moves, and then protect yourself, defend yourself, or counter
their goals without raising suspicion. But virtue alone does not guarantee success. There is another element that always influences outcomes: fortuna. For Machiavelli, fortuna represents life's unpredictable events, the things beyond our control, luck.
So basically, in there's always things that are basically out of our control, basically meteor hitting the Earth, that's out of our control. A failure in some kind of system, but it's due to some kind of overflow of someone doing something shady or something,
chance, opportunities, and even crises that arise unexpectedly. He believed that about half of our lives are shaped by fortuna, but the other half depends solely on our actions. This is where virtue becomes crucial. Unscrupulous people, those unbound by moral judgments, are better equipped to handle fortuna. They seize opportunities with boldness and courage, while ethical individuals may hesitate, question, or worry about consequences. Those who act pragmatically do not waste chances. They dominate the chaos around them and shape destiny in their favor. Imagine a river overflowing after a storm. Fortuna is like this uncontrolled water, capable of destroying everything in its path. A person with virtue, however, does not get swept away by the current. Instead, they use the river's force to their advantage, building channels, harnessing the flow.
Building a dam beavers building a dam. People building hydro systems for energy generation, windmill or water wheel, stuff like that,
and creating something new out of the chaos. This combination of virtue and fortuna is what gives wicked individuals a strategic advantage. They not only seize opportunities as they arise, but also create their own. Boldness, for Machiavelli, is essential. He even states that fortune favors the bold, those who are unafraid to take risks, act quickly, and adapt to circumstances,
what's going on today?
even if it means
not
stepping
much.
over others. But there
just
is a
decided
catch.
to pop on
Fortuna
for a little bit. I got
volatile.
class in the
Those
morning.
who achieve success by exploiting
Just went through
opportunities
some
must be prepared for the moment
some of this stuff.
when luck turns. Machiavelli warns that relying solely on fortuna is dangerous because it is unpredictable and unstable. Thus, true winners are those who combine virtue with the ability to handle fortuna.
Oh yeah,
they
look,
know
that's
that while they cannot control everything,
new
they can
China
choose
marriage
how to act
laws
in the face of chaos and chance. This is the great skill of people
Yo,
who
Dream,
disregard
what the fuck
moral
do you
norms.
want, you weirdo?
They do not wait passively for fortune to favor them. They provoke it. They adapt. They shape the world around them. But is this strategy sustainable in the long term? Or will there come a point when fortuna ceases to smile on those who act with malice?
Basically karma.
If there is one common trait among those who thrive through malice or ruthless pragmatism, it is emotional coldness. While many of us are paralyzed by guilt, remorse, or shame when contemplating the consequences of our actions, these individuals move forward without hesitation.
Well, I mean, you could call it realism too, just being realistic.
To save the patient's life, they must be precise,
this is all under the
unshaken.
pretense of
They cannot let their hand
Machiavellian's
tremble
ideas.
or be overcome by emotion. Now imagine someone applying this same coldness, not to save lives, but to manipulate or destroy.
So trolley
this is the
problems,
logic
basically.
of those who act unscrupulously. They operate their lives like a surgeon handles a scalpel, with precision and complete emotional detachment. While ethical and empathetic people hesitate, deliberate, and become paralyzed by moral analysis, the wicked see the world as it is, a competitive arena where survival and victory are the only...
Shit. I mean, if you do not view the world as competitive, you're already at a loss.
rules that matter. This absence of guilt and shame gives them a frightening advantage.
Right, because you always have people trying to one-up each other.
Nor do they waste time lamenting the repercussions
Especially
of their
if you're
actions. If
trying
lying,
to get an
manipulating,
education,
or sacrificing
trying to get a
someone is
job.
necessary to achieve their goals, they do it without flinching. Here enters a powerful element, the ability to manipulate others. Strategic coldness allows these individuals to exploit others' emotions while remaining unaffected by their...
I mean, you can kind of see it with some people in the entertainment industry sleeping with other people to get positions. Amber Heard situation with Johnny Depp being a fucking shady cunt, right? Just their ends justify their means, right? And they want to be disgusting people. They got what they deserve, right?
Their own. They know exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to act to shape others' reactions in their favor. It is like a poker player with an unreadable expression
being deceitful,
who deceives their opponents and wins the game. While everyone else is trying to guess their intentions, they remain in control, directing the game as they please. This ability to hide emotionally while manipulating the environment around them makes such individuals highly effective. However, this emotional coldness comes at a price. Machiavelli warned that a leader cannot afford to be hated by everyone.
Correct.
Accumulating resentment, enemies, and betrayals along the way is like building a house on quicksand.
Yeah.
It may stand for a while.
Right, the idea of keeping your keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right? Stuff like that. Right, there is some truth to what they speak.
Its collapse
sometimes.
is inevitable. Moreover, living without guilt or empathy carries a silent but profound cost. Authentic relationships, peace of mind, and a genuine sense of purpose are impossible when life is built solely on manipulation and the pursuit of power. This leads to the ultimate question: can this coldness, so useful for achieving success, sustain a truly fulfilling life?
Well, I mean, people. Right, if you're an officer, you do have to act cold sometimes, especially when there's something horrific that happens in front of you and you have to put the person who did the horrific thing in cuffs and shit and then put them in the fucking back of the goddamn cop car and tell them, hey, you fucked up, you idiot. Alright, you do have to be right? Especially if you're in the military. Sometimes you have to be calm, methodical, and fucking cold.
Because in the
it
end,
happens.
hollow victories weigh heavier than defeats.
You got a job to do, and you got
an
to do it within whatever time frame or situation you're in.
If unscrupulous people seem to have an undeniable advantage in the game of success, an inevitable question arises. Can this prosperity last forever? Niccolo Machiavelli, despite advocating for effectiveness over morality, offers an important warning. A leader can be feared, but must never be hated. When hatred accumulates...
Oh yeah, just look at Trump. No one hate... Right. People... I don't think people hate him. I mean, well, people do hate him and fear him. But people are, like, all up in it... People are getting all up in their fifis because he keeps calling people out.
It becomes the greatest risk for anyone in power. History is full of examples of individuals who reach the top through manipulation, cruelty, or deceit, only to fall dramatically and inevitably. Think of tyrants who ruled with an iron fist, only to be overthrown by their own people.
True.
Or corporate leaders who, after years of greed and manipulation, saw their empires crumble when their lies were exposed.
True.
This pattern is almost unavoidable, because success built on malice creates silent enemies and invisible resentments. For a time, coldness and manipulation may keep everything under control. But as cracks accumulate, the system collapses. As the saying goes, you can fool some people for a long time, but not everyone forever.
Forever, yeah. I've seen people openly talk about treason online. What the fuck? Why? Well, fuck, you're a citizen. Treason only applies to people in the military. And like what?
Machiavelli suggests that those who rule without balance, relying only on fear and force, end up isolated. Isolation is one of the greatest weaknesses for anyone in a position of power. When fear replaces trust and flattery becomes mere self-interest, allies disappear at the first opportunity. After all, who wants to defend someone?
Yeah, just look at what Biden did. Basically, all of our allies didn't fucking like us because we weren't doing any fucking deals or some shit. We have no idea what the fuck Biden was doing in those 4 years. Might as well be fucking just a fog of war of not knowing what the fuck was going on. Actually, killing the president or betraying the government is considered treason. Yes, killing the president or betraying the government is considered treason, yeah.
One who cares for nothing but themselves. Moreover, success itself can become a burden. A person who achieves great accomplishments through manipulation or insensitivity.
But usually the people who target, the people who target politics or, political opponents are usually people who are, who were in the line of duty at some point. Or some fucking cracked out dude. And talking about it is conspiracy to commit treason. I mean, yeah, you could say that, but, you do have the freedom of speech to talk about controversial issues, right? So it's like, there has to be some level of, leniency, in a sense. Because, you can just talk about... Treason is a topic that people talk about a lot. So it's like... So are you going to tag everyone who talks about treason as a criminal? Because I bet you could find tons of threads on people talking about treason, the historical background behind what treason is, and yada yada yada. Are you gonna take out, or are you gonna censor all that?
Lives with constant paranoia.
So it's like
who is plotting against
there's
me?
a time and a place
who will
for
try
everything.
To take what I have achieved. When will my lies be discovered? This is the cruel irony. The more someone achieves through malice, the more fragile and lonely their position becomes. Distrust sets in. relationships
you still need to
become
have a
superficial,
healthy
and the
amount of
fight to maintain
conversation
control turns into
instead
an
of
endless
jumping the
battle.
gun and being like,
Consider
"Oh,
the
this
downfall
dude's
of
evil.
historical
We need
figures
to
as perfect
we need
examples.
to cancel
Dictators who
him, and we
began their
need to
journeys
show
with
him
an
to
air of
the to
invincibility,
the
but ended
authorities
up
because
alone,
he's
hated,
talking about
and
this too
overthrown by
much."
those who once feared them. Corporate or political leaders.
Keep calling for the president's head to roll is protected under free speech. Well, I mean, you can say that to Netanyahu, right? You have people in the United States who say that to Netanyahu. Are people justified in saying that? Obviously not.
Who in an instant saw their reputations destroyed by a single scandal. Power built without ethics is like a house of cards.
People still allow it, right? Like I said, there's time and place for everything. And you don't if their action is not being right in realized in reality, then it's not really, then there's no substance to it, right? If it has substance to it, then that's a different question, right? But usually some of these people who are talking about it have no substance.
Cards. Impressive at first glance, but inherently unstable. Everything achieved.
I mean, there's obviously people, there's that few percentage who actually have some substance, right? That actually do stuff, right? Think of school shooters, right? A lot of people find out, right, school shooters happen because, well, through investigation and through posts and through, right, stuff like that. Usually they should be able to get the shooter, but they don't.
Through questionable methods depends on a web of manipulations and fragile alliances that can collapse with the slightest disruption. Additionally, Machiavelli acknowledged the unpredictability of fortune, luck, which so often favors these individuals.
Yeah, also, you can't account for everything also.
At certain moments can just as quickly turn against them. An unexpected betrayal, an uncontrollable crisis, or a miscalculation, and the image of invincibility vanishes. This brings us to a point of reflection. What does it truly mean to prosper? While wicked people may accumulate wealth, power, or apparent success, these achievements often come with existential emptiness and emotional isolation.
Yep.
The absence of authentic connections.
Yeah.
And the constant.
I mean, right, just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you're really that successful. I mean, yeah, in a sense, yeah, money can bring you, right, certain power and whatnot. But it won't, right, you won't feel satisfied in certain aspects of life, right?
Paranoia of losing what they have make life a perpetual struggle. In the end, prosperity based on fear and manipulation cannot last. Like a castle built on sand, it is destined to collapse. And when the fall comes, it is as brutal as the rise was impressive. This leads to the final question. Is it really worth selling your soul to achieve such an unstable and hollow success?
Yep. Better to be poor man with God than a rich man without.
One inevitable question remains.
Basically.
Is it truly worth achieving success, power, and wealth at the cost of your humanity? Those who act with malice, insensitivity, and manipulation can indeed rise to the top more quickly. But what is the price of such an ascent? A life built on fear, deceit, and selfishness carries a silent and often irreversible cost.
Yeah.
Think about it. What is the point of it?
Right, you vilify everyone around you at that point. Right, you're willing to step on any of your peers, your citizens, right? You're willing to step on the corpses of dead people just to get your way, right?
Achieving everything the world defines as success, if, deep down, you feel empty, distrustful, and incapable of finding peace. While these individuals...
Oh yeah, it's like that thing yesterday with that fucking... Oh my god, that disgusting fucking dumb bitch. Who abused the child, right? And killed the child and was abusing all the other children she had with her.
Accumulate material victories.
Disgusting.
They also gather something far more destructive.
Yeah.
Loneliness,
that
paranoia,
was pretty fucking
and a complete
destructive.
Disconnection from what truly matters. Machiavelli subtly warns about this,
that was
even
like
if
super
indirectly.
Inhumane.
He suggests that a leader must be feared, but never hated, because hatred is an inevitable downfall. The same logic applies to anyone who seeks power at all costs. The higher you climb by stepping over others, the more unstable your position becomes, and the greater the risk of falling alone. Imagine a luxurious building, gleaming on the outside but with its structure corroded. It may impress from a distance, but it is only a matter of time before it collapses. This is the life of those who sacrifice values, ethics, and genuine relationships to achieve hollow success. Moreover, there is something that neither power, nor money, nor victories can buy. A real sense of purpose and satisfaction.
Right, money can't buy everything.
People who manipulate and exploit others rarely find joy in their achievements. They are always restless, afraid of losing what they have, or being betrayed. After all, they know how the game works because they created it. Here arises the most important reflection.
Yeah, right. Remember when Trump was talking about fucking, what was it? The taxes and the business system of America. He knows how to play the system. He knows people fucking cheat the system.
Is prosperity simply having more money,
as well,
more power, and more recognition? Or is it living a life that ultimately has meaning? Because time, that relentless judge, will one day demand its dues. When we look back at the sand that has already fallen in the hourglass, what will truly matter? The material achievements we accumulated, or how we lived, the people we touched, and the legacy we left behind? Machiavelli taught us that effectiveness might require sacrifices, but he also left us a lesser discussed lesson. Balance is essential. Strength and cunning can take you far, but without solid values, any victory will be hollow. In the end, the success that truly matters is
and a lot of people still, right, even though people don't understand Machiavelli that much, or Machiavellianism that much, people still exhibit this, even though they don't know that they are.
Peace of mind, genuine connections, and a greater sense of purpose.
That's just humans, right?
So here is the final question. What good is it to gain the world if in the process you lose yourself? And remember, knowledge is the path to true freedom. Count on me and follow the white rabbit.
Yeah, great video. Great video. This was a month ago. But yeah. Machiavellianism. A great philosopher. I will never apologize for having a good heart. Remember when he said the system is rigged, and the host said, "How do you know the system is rigged?" And he said, "I know the system is rigged because I use it." Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's the one I was referring to. The secret is dehumanizing the other. Then you can be moral with your allies and ruthless with everyone else. That's the trick that we all use every day. Right. Right. Terrorists exhibit this. Right, the way we view terrorists, the way we view certain people and the acts they do, right? The inhumane acts people do to certain people. Sex trafficking, slavery, blah, 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 right? Drugging people to kill them, right? Trying to murder people, stuff like that. I'd rather be moral than immoral. My peace is at the most important. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Eddie Guerrero. Trick is to know when to practical and when to be compassionate. Yep. Both are necessary. Right? Striking that balance. That's life. Depends what success is. If a success is to remain human, then the bad people are not the ones succeeding in life. Yep, pretty much. There's some good comments in here. Mr. Miyagi, did I see that? Never put passion before principle. Even if when you lose. Sorry. Wax on, wax off. Bad people do Bad people do bad things because good people allow them. Trump and the Republicans are great examples. What? But are these goals of grandeur, power, conquering, and destroying truly what have to be? Should they truly be the final destinations? In the words of Patrick Bateman. Okay. Fucking American Psycho. Yep. History tells us the strongest survivors. Yep. Strongest survive, sorry. Right? Darwinism. Right? Survival of the fittest. Natural selection. Right? Yeah, there's... Yeah, science in general. Ugh. All the money in the world and the power can't buy class. Worship Satan, he will pay off. But then there's karma. That takes it all away. Behind every fortune is a great crime. Balzac. Alright. I think I am gonna have to